Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the new BMW X5, the fourth generation of a vehicle that is internally called the Boss. Why this nickname? Easy. This car is dominating the premium SUV segment for almost 20 years now. But times are getting harder and the challenge is getting bigger. We got a new Mercedes GLE around the corner. We got the best Porsche Cayenne ever, a Volkswagen Touareg, an Audi Q8, and lots of cars from the US, from Japan, and last but not least, the Range Rovers. So if this car still can be the leader of the pack, that's what we're gonna figure out in our first test drive here on Thomas Geiger Car. The X5 will start with 4 engines. We have on the petrol side a brand new V8 with 462 horsepower in the X5 50i and an inline 6 with 3 liters of displacement and 340 horsepower in the X5 40i. If you're interested in the diesel, also 2 engines, both based on a 3 liter 6-cylinder inline engine, delivering 400 horsepower in the X50M and 265 horsepower in the X5 30D. More interesting, there is a plug-in hybrid on the way, this time also with an inline 6 and an electrical range of more than 80 kilometers. Driving the new X5 is a really enhanced experience. On the road, because the car is more comfortable and more dynamic than before due to electronic control differential and the new air suspension, and off the road because for the first time ever it offers an off-road package with different drive modes for different surfaces and a change in the ground clearance. For about 8 centimeters you can lift or lower the car to adapt to the ground, something that really makes a difference. If you go on the highway, you can make use of a wide array of driver assistance systems, and you can get as close to hands-free driving as it is allowed at the moment. The shape of the X5 is more an evolution than a revolution. We got new headlights, we got a new kidney grille. The car is just looking more rugged, bolder, more present than before. That perfectly fits to the new size because X5 grew in every dimension. It is 7 centimeters wider, 4 centimeters longer, now almost 5 meters. A car that you really will recognize once you see it. BMW has done a significant work on upgrading the interior to make the X5 more a luxury vehicle. You got more leather, you got the more beautiful consoles, and you got some fancy details. For the first time ever, you got a gear lever out of glass, and also glass applications on the start button, on the iDrive controller, and on the volume button for the radio. If that's not enough, you got some more luxury features. You got an air purifier, especially for regions like China, and you got a panoramic roof with more than 15,000 LED elements so that you can see the stars while glazing at the sky. Something you only know from Rolls-Royce by now. The user experience and the infotainment system of the BMW X5 is not a surprise at all. It's just a tiny step of development coming from the BMW models we all know. We have a bigger digital cockpit with a new graphic layout, and we have the touchscreen aside of it. New apps to operate and to personalize your car, a navigation system that you know that is perfectly operated with a nice menu, and we still have the iDrive controller to operate if we don't want to touch. We also got gesture control for the radio, for example. So with some tiny gestures you can tune up the volume or down. Not a surprise at all, and not as fancy as we will have to see it in the new Mercedes GLE with the widescreen cockpit that we know from the A-Class. Different brand, different style, so you have to choose what fits to your taste. The biggest difference to the outgoing model is to be witnessed on the rear seat, because the 4 centimeters more wheelbase are adding up to almost 3 meters between the two axles, and that gives you a lot of additional legroom on the second row. And as you know it from the outgoing model, there will be a third row available. And if you need more space, you have to be a little patient. Then the X5 will be followed by an X7 with more wheelbase, more room and more comfort. BMW is taking it serious with the rear seat in the new X5, even if you can't slide the bench or tilt the backrest. But the designers and engineers have invented some really nice and practical features to make use of the room. For example, this mounting system. So you can easily plug in or plug out parts like the hanger for your coat or a holder, for example, for your iPad. And for the first time ever, you also got USB chargers. Not only the old USB-A, no, since the X5 is future-proofed, they also installed USB-C plugs as one of the first vehicles on the market. The new X5 is not only a very powerful SUV, but also a very practical one. Maybe the most versatile in the segment, and that's mainly due to the divided tailgate that for sure opens electrically. So once you press the button, first the upper and then the lower part of the tailgate opens and gives you access to a trunk that was increased dramatically. 650 liters with the rear seats up, 1860 liters with the rear seats down. That's quite an impressive load capacity. And that's not all. There are lots of details that make loading easier. You got a second storage space underneath the floor. You can fold the rear seats from the back, and a cool feature that will come early next year. For the first time ever, the trunk cover can be stored underneath the floor by a switch of a button, because also that works electrically. And if you're done with loading, press the button again and the car will just close and you're ready to go. Thanks for joining me on that first review with the new BMW X5, a car that kept its character but was improved in every detail. We got more power and more efficiency with the engines. We got more fun and more comfort with the drive. We got more space and more versatility in the interior. We have the more luxurious extras and, for the first time ever, the off-road package that addresses drivetrain and body. So overall, a car that is well prepared for the tough challenge in one of the most interesting segments. And the biggest competitor is right around the corner, because when this car will have its world debut at the Paris Auto Show in October, the Mercedes GLE will be revealed as well. It's going to be interesting to see which car will lead the market in the future. Thank you, Tschüsschen, and bye-bye.